Some national news here. A vigil was held last night in Madison, Wisconsin to remember a teacher and student, the two lives that were lost in the Abundant Life Christian School shooting that happened on Monday. 6 others were wounded in the shooting, including 2 who have life-threatening injuries. Police there still working to uncover the motive behind the attack. Police Chief Sean Barnes says that at this time there is a combination of factors and they are looking into everything from possible bullying to the suspected shooter, her online activity. Officials also say that the alleged shooter, her name Natalie Rupnow, she went by Samantha though, turned the gun on herself, and investigators are working to determine how Rupnow obtained that weapon.
Let us remember this fact. Gun violence is the #1 killer of children in this country. That's a legacy we cannot accept.
Well, Dane County officials calling for action from legislatures to prevent future tragedies. This is at least the 83rd school shooting in the U.S. this year. That is more than any other since when CNN started tracking school shootings back in 2008.
So the initial report from the Madison police chief was that a second grade student actually called 911 for help during the shooting. Well, the chief has since clarified it was actually the second grade teacher. But the original report got people thinking, would your elementary age student know how to call 911? I, of course, spoke with local school district and first responder who are urging parents to teach their children when, why, and how to call for help in an emergency situation.
It's just unthinkable. Unfortunately, it happens far too often at this point.
We always encourage folks that to introduce the theory of calling 911, the practice of calling 911 to children as early as possible.
What is too early for a child, or is there such thing in today's world?
It all really depends on the child.
Joe Arrington with the San Antonio Fire Department says the studies have shown ages 3 to 4 years old is the ideal time to plant that seed. Aubrey Chancellor with Northeast ISD agrees.
We really start talking to students as soon as they get to us in pre-kindergarten. So we're talking about 4 years old. But as a parent, you can never start too early. As soon as a child begins to talk and is able to dial, you can start having those conversations.
When we do receive calls from children, 99% of the time it is a true emergency.
Arrington says during their school visits, they're not only educating children on the severity behind calling 911, but they're breaking down what a true emergency is.
Unconscious, a fire, a traffic accident, things like that where you're going to need some sort of immediate care or immediate assistance from the police or fire, EMS.
He added practicing hypothetical situations as you would exit drills at home during a house fire is also a great way for parents to keep their children informed. What about cell phone policies at school, though? Chancellor says that it varies depending on the school in their district, but for the most part, students are prohibited from having their phones out during instruction.
That still means that they are possibly in their backpacks. So there is still access to phones in an emergency situation, regardless of whether phones are supposed to be up during instructional time. In addition, a lot of our classrooms have landlines still.
If you have to call 911, remember, be confident with stating who you are, why you're calling, and where you're calling from, no matter how old you are.
That's the key, is at such a young age, kids really do make a difference a lot of times when they call 911. They get those resources going. They may not even understand why they're calling it, but the fact that they do and they feel confident and they can give us the information we need to get those resources to them is a matter of life and death a lot of times.
So obviously that story sparked a big conversation in our newsroom, and then speaking with them, they clarified and doubled down that, again, calling 911, it's not playing games. That is not something to joke about. You call it for a reason, and here are your reasons. But again, the question was, how young are your kids able to understand that this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I'm doing to save a life?
Yeah, and I know a lot of parents wrestle with the idea of when is it too soon to give your kiddos a phone. So very interesting stuff, yeah, and good information there from San Antonio Fire Department and Aubrey Chancellor.